Good morning, and welcome to the second episode of our podcast,
where we drink tea and navigate the balance between school and personal life.
I'm Sophia Curry.
And I'm Sophia Safe.
And this is Sip and Spill. Welcome back to the Tea Journal.
The topic we'll be touching on today is navigating your relationship with social media.
So I think the first thing we can talk about is how we perceive each other on social media.
Mm-hmm.
Like our peers, celebrities, just how people present their life on social media.
And, comparing your lives to theirs.
Yeah.
And, even though you may not, believe that you aren't going to compare your life to theirs, that green monster of jealousy is always going to come out, whether you want it to or not.
Definitely. I think it's so interesting to look at what people post on social media, because you can really it almost is like you can get a sense for who they are, but then in reality, there's so many things that are hiding, below the surface, beneath the surface.
Their life on social media isn't their life, in real life. And I feel like that's something that most people know.
Yeah.
But it's not always a constant thought in the back of your head as you're scrolling through social media. And
I think that's so interesting with celebrities per se, because I think one of the things that I've heard, a lot of celebrity interviews, they're like, oh, a lot of people think they know me really well because our lives are so public and so forward online that they think they know me personally, when in reality, they don't know really any personal information about this person or know anything deep about this person or have a connection, yet they believe they do.
Their life on social media is just a highlight reel of all of the best moments in their life, and the best moments are not what makes up a person.
Mm-hmm.
It's the struggles and the hurdles you have to jump over to become who you are.
For sure. And I think that's something I think everyone needs to keep in mind, is what you see on social media isn't real.
No.
And I know we said last week that us personally don't have social media, but it's still, seeing things online and comparing yourself to other people is still something that you're really susceptible to doing, even if you don't, say, have, Snap or Instagram, because we still see, articles about people, and we'll still get fed information just from, a Google feed.
Right, or doing any research even on a person. I know my cousins had to do a project on people, on, famous people.
Really?
And in that, they were looking at people, and you're going to compare yourself to someone. Whether you, whether you like it or not, you're going to compare yourself. It's a common human, nature to want to have something, and not being able to have that, it makes you feel a certain way, and that certain way doesn't exactly feel very good.
Yeah. I think it's so interesting, if we talk about the comparing standpoint, body image is, huge, a huge thing, Photoshop.
Yes.
And, even now I feel like AI can do a bunch of things to pictures now, you can
not to mention
post things.
People constantly getting body cosmetics to make themselves feel better because of what they see on social media.
I think body positivity is, a really big thing that, comes out of how we perceive other people, because, looking at celebrities, even if they're, you don't want to compare yourself to, the Kardashians, because we're obviously, we're, 15 to 18-year-olds, and these people are, 40, that have millions of dollars, obviously have had, multiple cosmetic surgeries, but when you see celebrities who are, our age, who, or are in their, early 20s, that, they're closer to our age, and you're oh, but look at them, and then,
how do they have so much more than I do?
Right.
Where did I go wrong?
Or just, how do they look, a certain way, and then I think it builds up resentment towards yourself for what other people have available to them in order to look a certain way, and I think it's really interesting that, celebrities always are kind of, the quote-unquote perfect image, because it's you gotta remember at some point they were, I don't want to say normal, but they weren't famous the minute they were born, unless they were, born into a more affluent family, nepotism and stuff. But they have gone through the same struggles too, because they're still living in the same world and they're still
Yeah.
perceiving other people the same way we're perceiving them and perceiving the people around us. There's so many like fake things that you can get off of social media.
Yeah, and seeing yourself in someone else's eyes is a lot of help with that. Like,
Mm.
you're able to see how, like, people on social media might post about themselves, but not show what's behind the curtain.
Yeah, for
There's
sure.
a lot more that's not being shown on social media, and I feel like that is what what people are seeing on social media is what they're comparing themselves to.
Mm.
They're not comparing themselves to the struggles that people have gone through to get where they are.
I actually think it's so interesting. There's a lot of trends about that on social media too.
Mhm.
Like, I think a while back there was a TikTok trend. I literally can't remember exactly what it was, but there was I do definitely remember hearing a trend where it was like, it started out showing like all the, the bubbly fun stuff of what most people see on social media, and then it was like the
Yes,
behind the
I know
scenes
what you're
stuff.
talking about.
I can't remember like the name of the trend again because I don't have social media, so
Yeah.
I don't like. But there was like a certain sound that went with it, and like some certain like edit that went with it, and then it was kind of like, oh, what people see online versus what's really happening.
I feel like that was a lot of help to people. I mean, I know for myself even that like what I see on social media is not the norm. It's not something that I should 100% aspire to be.
Yeah.
There are struggles for every single person.
Yeah. I think one of the struggles we see a lot of people go through is addiction.
Like addiction to social media?
Yeah.
Yeah, no, I see that.
I think we're all a little addicted to it because we get pulled into the trap of what we see.
Yes, it's like a constant escape now for everyone.
Yeah.
Like, I need to relax, and I immediately get on my phone and start scrolling.
And I think it's because social media is the glamorized version of most people's lives. Unless, you run a social media page that is very, not glamorizing. But I think even in some cases, some people take really horrible situations and they kind of glamorize it on social media. And it's horrible.
I've seen videos of people, like, crying on social media, and I'm always like, why record it?
There's a lot of desensitization. Wow. You know what I'm saying. Yeah.
Yeah.
A lot of things are desensitized.
Yes.
On social media because of, the way it's posted and the way it's perceived. And I think that happens.
How often you see it, too.
Yeah.
Like, trends are making a lot of things, like, completely normal. Like I said, crying on social media. A lot of people have been posting that, and it feels like, yes, it's good that that's being normalized, but then again, you're desensitized to, like, seeing people feel sad.
I think it's the way they post it, the way they go about it. Like, in certain ways, it's like, yeah, okay, you're sad, and we're, like, normalizing it, or people are clearly upset about something, versus, like, you're crying, and you're doing some certain thing, and you're, like, it's kind of all about the way someone goes about posting it, and I think that happens a lot in not even just social media posts, but TV shows, movies. I remember a while back there was a big thing about 13 Reasons Why. And it glamorizes. Really?
No.
So 13 Reasons Why, basically, I mean, if no one's watched this show, there was a girl named Hannah who went to this school, and basically the whole premise was she killed herself.
Okay.
She committed suicide because, there was just a bunch of things that happened at school, and she recorded 13 tapes that she told this one of her friends to give to pass along to all these people.
Okay. And
they had to listen to it. It was like, there's this joke that's like, if you've ever heard someone say, oh, this is my 13th reason why. So it was like, this is one of the reasons why I killed myself. So the tapes were kind of addressed to people. It was her telling her story. It was basically like her suicide note.
Okay.
But there was a big argument that this TV show glamorized self-harm and suicide. And, it was very much to put awareness out there, and I think it did a lot of awareness, like raising awareness for suicide prevention and self-harm. But I think it also kind of glamorized it in some ways, too, because
suicide jokes are more common than ever, I think.
And it's sad. Like, I mean, everybody, I think, is guilty. At least, everyone almost in high school is guilty of saying, like, oh my god, I'm going to kill myself.
Yeah, no. Yep,
Like,
I wholeheartedly agree with that.
I, like, hear that at least, like, 3 times in one class.
Yeah.
Because it's just, like...
completely normalized.
But you can see how, like, desensitized we've gotten to stuff like that. So we all kind of get addicted to the certain things that we see on social media and how everything's glamorized. So it's kind of like, you're right, it's like an escape route.
Yeah. Like, I feel like relaxing on social media isn't a good idea.
No.
So, in terms of stopping addiction, I feel like instead of, like, taking a detox is a great idea, obviously, and stepping away, but I feel like a more, like, easy way, day-to-day life, I feel like it's common for people who have, like, either social anxiety or more introverted, when they feel drained, instead of stepping away and scrolling on social media, maybe, like, classic, read a book.
Yeah.
Do something else other than scrolling, and I feel like that's also going to help with everyone's addiction with social media. It's completely normalized going on social media to relax. And I feel like it's not a good way to relax. You're not getting anything out of it. You're not helping yourself. It's not relaxing at all.
I think you have to learn to set a limit for yourself. Like, that's really hard, but you have to, like, really, like, take the time to put social media away and say, like, the influence of everyone's lives, I don't want that, like, thrown in my face as much, because that can really be a detriment to just you and the people around you, because it's just, like, all these different things are being thrown in your face, all these different, like, bits of information. You don't know what to believe. Right. It's just all those things. But I also think, good things can come out of social media, too. Like, I remember last week you were saying online friends, which that's a very tricky subject.
Agreed. I mean, I was playing Fortnite with my brother, and we accidentally joined a squad, and there were 2 other people, and they were nice. They weren't anything crazy. I don't even know if he remembers this, but, like, it was nice to play with someone else and not know who they were, and just be able to see what's on the surface, and having fun with someone you don't even know, and then letting that release. For, you don't know anyone. There's no, what's it called? Expectations that person already has for when you're playing with them.
I get that. I think, so tell me more about that, because I've never had, like, quote unquote online friends, because I don't do video games, I don't really do any of that, and, again, not having social media, I haven't had, because I know tons of people add, like, random people off of Snap.
I know, I feel like that's a little scary.
It is scary, so how do you do that with, like, talking to random people?
It was an accident, first of all. Like, I have no intention to make online friends. I think it's honestly really frightening giving someone information about myself that I don't even know, and I don't know what they could do with it. But then again, it's just like, it was an accident. We were playing Fortnite, we accidentally joined a squad. It was Phil. I don't know if you guys know, but Fortnite, you know what Fortnite is, but in Fortnite you have, like, duos, trios, and squads, and you can either fill the lobby or keep it unfilled and just have you and your, like, partner that you play with. And we had actually accidentally had it as filled and with a squad, and there were 2 other people.
Okay.
And so it wasn't like we were friends, but it was more or less like it was easy to talk to these people.
Right. And they weren't doing anything outright weird.
Not at all. Like, the most was, like, a curse here and there.
Right. But there was no, like, oh, tell me more about yourself. No. Like, I think that's something you really have to be careful, like, catfishing.
Yes.
And all of that. Like, that is so common to experience, which is really scary. So I think when you talk to people you don't know online, you got to be really mindful of some of the signs they're giving you, because you didn't pick up anything weird, but
it's hard to, especially when you're, like, going in there naive and young. It's hard to see when people are trying to catfish you. Like, it happens so often. So many people, you can hear horror stories online.
And not like, even just catfishing, like grooming and just all of these things. Like, that's something we all really have to be mindful outside of games, but, like, on social media and, like, what you post and, like, who sees it and who it goes to, because it's really scary to me that people can, like,
get so much out of so little.
Like, I remember the one time someone said, oh, don't do a peace sign in a photo, because someone can, like, edit, like, go into the photo and, like, find your fingerprint, and I was like,
what?
And I was like, whoa. And that really freaked me out. And I was like, wow. And I was like, the fact that our cameras are, like, just the camera quality, as the camera quality goes up, like, imagine how much, like,
people could take from a simple
Yeah,
photo.
like how much information you can now grab from like, you could probably like blow up the eye, or someone was saying like
Yeah.
ears are another fingerprint because the structure of someone's ear is like very unique to them.
Really?
Yeah, like I think all like the curves and like the bends, and I was like, there's so many, like you could probably get like a whole, like someone could create a whole fake identity and frame you for something. Like it's just,
That's
there's a lot of
insane.
freaky things that can
Yeah.
happen.
Oh, and then like lookalikes. Like the
Mm-hmm.
Ariana Grande lookalike.
Yes.
So freaky. And the Taylor Swift lookalike. And how
Yes.
she changed her entire personality.
Yes. I think like some people like take it so far,
Mm-hmm.
and it's just really weird to me. Like you can see how quickly inauthenticity happens online.
Yeah.
So like I don't like online friendships. I think honestly for me that's really scary. Like I have nothing against it, but
Mm-hmm.
definitely that's something I think like
Yeah, I
I
feel
would
like
be wary of that. Like
100% agreed. And social media addiction altogether
yeah.
is frightening.
And you can probably like, it's just funny to me that you can get so much information off of social media now. Like
Mm-hmm.
TikTok has a lot of really truthful information,
Yeah, and then also
and a really
everything
fake.
is false.
And then everything is false.
Sometimes my brother will come in the car and he'll tell my mom and I like, "Did you know this is this?" And sometimes I'll be like, "That can't be true. That can't be
Right.
right." And ever since that one time, I've been looking at everything and I'm like, "Is this actually true or is this just AI?" You know?
Yeah. And I remember hearing someone say at some point, like it was someone who was older, and it gave me so much like perspective in how easily someone who's not like well versed in social media, or like
Mm-hmm.
how easily information is false out there. They were like, oh, this person died, and I was like, what, they did? And I was like, no, that can't be true. And I
Yeah.
looked, and certain posts, you can look at the post and you're like immediately know it's fake based off
Yeah.
how it looks and like who posted it.
Mm-hmm.
But the fact that this person believed it so easily, and then she told somebody else, and she was like, oh my gosh, look, so and so died. And I was like, no, I don't think that's right. I'm not sure. I'm like, I'm not sure that's a reliable source. And I went and I looked it up, and I was like, yeah, no, that's fake.
Yeah.
But
And
it was so easily believed.
you know that thing that people were saying how their moms believe everything that they see on Facebook?
Yeah.
We are turning into that now.
Yeah.
We are turning into the generation that
We believe everything we see on TikTok
or social media in general.
or Instagram or like. But I thought it was so scary that it was like if I wasn't there to like fact check that, they literally would have gone out and thought this person was dead. And now that's not like. Now that's not
Like
one of
harmful.
the worst things. But I'm like, but say something else happened.
Yeah.
That was like really bad. Then you like, whoa!
Believing
Imagine
that
how
is-
many things could be, believed if
Yeah.
someone's not like knowledgeable on like how information can be like passed.
Yeah.
So the main takeaway I think would probably be, don't believe everything on social media, and kind
Yeah.
of like it's very glamorized.
Yeah, and then take a break when you need to. And
Definitely.
try to hold on to your sense of self.
Yeah, and just individuality is really important.
Mhm.
Be very careful of what
Herd mentality.
you post and what you take in. And be like, I think, be wary of that so that you make sure to take care of yourself.
Agreed. So that pretty much wraps up our tea journal for this week.
Welcome to our first Chamomile Corner.
Basically, Chamomile Corner is where we'll go through skills to recenter yourself as well as strengthen your mental health.
We'll also discuss different mental health topics.
For today, we'll be discussing how to build a relationship with ourselves.
So, I think the first thing we can really talk about with this one is self-care.
Okay, what do you mean by that?
So, I think there's a lot of misconceptions actually about self-care. Like I feel like a lot of people think it's only like spa days and
like
getting facials
skincare
and taking like a day off of school or
Mm.
taking a day off from anything.
So you're talking about more mental health, self-care than like physical health?
Yeah, and while physical self-care is really important,
Mm-hmm.
and that definitely plays a role, it's not the only self-care that's out there.
Hmm.
So I think the first thing is, definitely taking a break, but what does taking a break mean? You know?
Right, so not just taking a break from like school or work, but taking a break from your life as a whole.
Mm-hmm. And
Like,
manageable breaks.
yeah, like you have to be balanced. You can't
Yes.
just take a break and only take a break.
Mm-hmm.
You need to obviously have some work built in there. You have to do things you don't want to do.
Mm-hmm. Yeah.
And like if you do the things that you always want to do whenever you want to do them, it's not self-care
Yeah.
because you're constantly getting that dopamine hit.
Yes,
And
for
you're going to be
sure.
desensitized to that eventually.
Yeah, I think it's good to take like a really big self-care day. Like one day
Mm-hmm.
like you really do set everything down. You like turn everything off and you like maybe you do go for like a spa day, you do like a face mask and
Mm-hmm.
you really like cleanse your skin and you take care of yourself, take a bath, do whatever, do something really relaxing. But also that comes with saying like on a daily basis, how do we take breaks manageably to
Yeah.
continue, sustaining ourselves. So it's like, I think last week we were talking, on tea and textbooks about the Pomodoro timer.
Yes.
And I think that's a really effective method.
I agree. Where it's you like you're in your day to day. It's not a big break,
Mm-hmm.
but it allows you to like recenter yourself after doing something you don't want to do.
Yeah, and it's like, depending on what intervals you do, so, some could be like 50-minute study sessions and then like
10-minute
10,
break
15 breaks. And then, or, the one I usually do is 25 minutes
and
worth
then a
of
5-minute
doing
break.
something and 5-minute breaks.
Mm-hmm.
You
Same.
can take those 5 minutes, go to the bathroom,
Yeah.
wash your face, get a little snack, take a break to like, or really like breathing exercises and
Yeah.
take that time to, take a moment for yourself.
And just like we said in the tea journal this week, probably not to scroll on social media because that's not
Yes.
gonna be a
Yeah.
good break.
Do not pick up your phone. Like, definitely. I mean, if you're like, you definitely have to text something, like, okay, that makes sense, that's
Mm-hmm.
okay. But, like,
Specifically, not going on social media.
yeah, like, just take that quiet time to yourself. Like, maybe
Mm-hmm.
just take a minute to, like, sit in, like, silence. Or,
Yeah.
if you need someone who needs stimulus, take that second to, like, just enjoy, the music or enjoy the
Mm.
sounds and kind of be aware of where you are right now and appreciate it.
That, or even if you can talk to someone.
Mm-hmm.
Like, I know sometimes human interaction is not what you want, but sometimes it's what you need.
Mm-hmm. Yes.
Humans are, like, as a whole, a connective species. Like, we need connection with each other. And it's a part that part builds all of us, and talking to someone can really help with that. Talking about someone about, like, not even something that you like struggling with, but something like, how are you doing today? Well, what's your favorite food?
Yeah.
Like something just completely random, out of the blue, but something that like just for fun.
Yeah. And I think that's, starting with that actually forms a good healthy habit, which is, I think, the next thing you can say is form healthy routines and healthy habits. So,
Mm-hmm.
you know, I think last week I was talking about how I've started to try to build back a routine of,
Yes.
exercising. Like, take that time to build a routine for yourself and in that routine, build healthy habits of, like, taking time for yourself, taking breaks, putting your phone away, or like,
Mm-hmm.
maybe journaling or doing something for yourself. I think it's really important to do things for yourself because a lot of times we're constantly moving around, focusing on other people, focusing on school, focusing on, maybe
Mm-hmm.
your job or extracurricular activities. Like,
Right.
take that moment for yourself and like build that into your routine.
Agreed.
Make
Yeah.
it a healthy habit.
And I feel like along with making healthy habits, removing unhealthy habits is also really important and working on that.
Yeah. like toxic influence.
Like toxic influences.
Which connects back to, you know, our main theme of the day, like social media. Remove those people. Like, if you're following someone that isn't, you know, giving you something in your life that you're getting something. Now, of course, you can have, like, people okay, you want to follow, like, stupid things or whatever, but, like, if you're not gaining anything out of it and you're finding, like, if you sit down one day and you're like, what am I getting from this person by following them? And it's more, like, giving you more stress or, like, oh, like, it's making you feel worse about yourself, like, in terms of, like, oh, like, look at them, you know, they have, like, such a great life, and, oh, I wish I could be like them, rather than being like, oh, you know, their fashion sense is really interesting, and I want to find clothes like that.
That, or even moving the idea that you have to be like someone else.
Yes.
Like herd mentality. I think I said it, like, briefly in the tea journal, but feeling like you have to be a part of the crowd and being left out, FOMO.
FOMO.
Is classic. Everyone knows what it is. And I feel like FOMO in and of itself is kind of like an unhealthy.
Oh, yeah,
I wouldn't call it a habit, but it is unhealthy.
It's a healthy thing I think we all get sucked into, like a mindset almost. Because I think as teenagers, we really fall into that, seeing, like, you know, other kids, you know, maybe party or go into things like, you know, a lot of peer pressure, that it's just like, am I missing out on something I should be doing? And I think as teenagers, I think, you know, of course you don't want to do anything illegal or do anything wrong, but, you know, you definitely have to, you know, live and experience life.
That, or
for
even
sure.
If your parents aren't letting you do something that you really want to do, and, well, you might not believe that what you want to do isn't going to harm you. Your parents have lived a life before you.
For sure.
And I know everyone is saying that, like, your parents haven't lived your life in this generation.
Yeah, I think that's a really big excuse we always use.
I know, but in reality, they do really know. They have a sense of what's best for you. All they really want, I would hope, is the best for you. And yeah, obviously you're allowed to feel upset if they're not letting you do something that you really want to do. But honestly, being grateful that, I mean, if your parents aren't letting you do something, it's probably something, like, they're trying to protect you.
Yes.
And while it might always be something that helps you in the end, it really is just the thought that counts.
And I feel like this kind of plays into another topic we can go into, is navigating, you know, family relationships. Because for the most part, like, I think you have to take into account how your family operates, and, you know, how well do you think your family is healthy, like, emotionally, because there are definitely families out there who are, like, spreading the wrong message and are, like, definitely sheltering their kids, and we're like,
I mean, yeah, that's a different story.
And it's like, so I think it's, like, really important you take into account, like, for yourself, kind of begin to form your own opinion, but, you know, your parents' opinion are definitely very important. So I think in terms of, like, FOMO and cutting out that toxic influence, that also includes, you know, to prevent that, cut the people out of your life that are not good influences. Like, it's very important to pick good friends.
I mean, you are who your friends are. Regardless of whether you think that you're your own person, everyone makes up you. Your parents make up who you are. Your friends make up who you are. You're a result of all that came before you and all that are going to come.
Yeah. So I think one of the ways you can kind of focus on doing this, or here are a few, like, mindfulness tips. To focus on yourself, you can, you know, I know some people don't like journaling, but journaling is a really good way. Like, if you go on Pinterest, or even if you go on Google and you look up, like, reflection prompts, like, journaling is a really good way to start reflecting back on yourself and how did I feel today, or this week, or this month.
Agreed. And not even, like, you don't even have to get, like, a journal for journaling. You could just write on different, like, scraps of paper, put them together. Like, I know I wanted to start journaling, but I don't think I ever, like, really got into it because I was always looking for the perfect journal.
Yeah.
And finding that spot where I can just put everything was just impossible.
And even timing, like, finding that time, that's, I guess that's another thing you can put, like, in making a healthy habit, is if journaling is something you want to get into, definitely make that a habit of yours.
Yeah.
Which I got into that habit. But some of the other things you can do is when you take that moment for yourself, breathing exercises, there's different ones out there. Like there's box breathing
Mm.
and, extending and equal and deep belly and energizing breaths and all these different types of breathing techniques that you can look up that kind of help with different situations like relaxing or focusing or
even like social
unwinding
anxiety.
or anxiety.
Mm-hmm.
And just finding all these different things that like breathing can really center yourself and like calm your nervous system. And there's tons of research into this that like if you're ever curious about this, definitely like I totally recommend going out and like looking into this stuff because mindfulness is so powerful. Like people don't I know a lot of people think it's like full of crap and it's so sad. Like I think that's so sad because there are studies on how powerful it is. So breathing exercises and then grounding exercises, like there's the 5 4 3 2 1 method.
And what's that?
Basically that is kind of like it helps you become aware of your surroundings. So it's like naming 5 things. I don't remember like exactly the order, but it's like 5 things you see, 4 things you might hear, 3 things you like might touch. And yeah, it's basically using your 5 senses. So it's listing like details in your surroundings that are like can help ground you. And that's something I think it's really really helpful. So it's 5 things you can see, 4 things you can touch, 3 things you can hear, 2 things you can smell, and 1 thing you can taste. And then you also have body scanning, which is kind of taking a moment to feel sensations in different parts of your body, like your hands and your fingers. And what are things that you hear? How does any part of your body feel warm? Does it feel cold? And these are all things that you can do to kind of get in touch with yourself. It like involves like a lot of sensory stuff and kind of just getting in touch with yourself.
And if you have the time or energy to do so, you can also plan an activity.
Yeah.
And having your day planned out can also be really nice. Not having to worry about what's next or what's the next step. Having everything just be one after the other just makes it helps a lot.
Or you could just even plan one thing, like because spontaneity is sometimes good. Like sometimes it's good. It gives you that little kick in your day, but plan like an activity, like something you enjoy to do. Like I know one of the things I've been working on is finding a second to sit down and like color or draw or do something, again, not connected to my phone, that really brings into touch with myself, and that can be incorporated as a break, as like, as a healthy habit that you start developing, so that you are able to start better taking care of yourself and connecting with yourself, and you'll be surprised how much you can like discover about yourself just by doing these things.
I see that, yeah.
So I think that's basically wraps it up for today. These are tips you can use to like help you get better in touch with yourself. So
recenting yourself and strengthening your mental health, and essentially just building a relationship with yourself, and the importance of doing that through mindfulness, taking breaks, healthy habits, and especially removing toxic influences.
Yes, for sure. And then, just using like the mindfulness techniques that we have listed, journaling, grounding exercises, and breathing to kind of get in touch with that.
Researching what works best for you.
Yes, for sure. So basically, I think that wraps it up. Welcome to our first 6 teaspoons, please. As we said in the last episode, this name comes from the fact that Sophia likes to put 6 teaspoons of sugar in her tea.
Okay, to be fair, it's in like a water bottle full of tea.
Okay, but it's still like really sweet.
Okay.
It's still a lot, but like it's like a guilty pleasures type thing.
Right.
Because her guilty pleasures is her guilty pleasure is 6 teaspoons of sugar.
So essentially, this segment outlines different guilty pleasures that teens, or us personally, have and how to navigate them healthily.
So for today, we'll be sticking with our media theme and talking about guilty pleasures within media consumption.
So I know that like I said in the last episode, actually, I used to, from the second I got home, I used to just whip out my phone and start scrolling. Yeah. And scrolling, and scrolling, and scrolling, and scrolling, and the cycle of doom scrolling just is insane nowadays.
I'm definitely guilty of doing that, even now.
Yeah, same. I think at night especially, it's hard to just, like, when you're done with everything and you're drained and there's nothing left to do, whipping out your phone and just opening up social media and just scrolling. And you know when you scroll for so long and you feel like you're not getting anything out of it? Like, you're like,
Oh,
you
yeah.
just keep scrolling and you're like, bored. You're bored while you're doing
bored.
something.
Yeah, that's really sad, but it's definitely a guilty pleasure because it's kind of, I think it's a guilty pleasure because it almost allows us to shut our brain off because it's kind of mindless. Like, we're mindlessly scrolling. It's like 20-second clips, not even of information that we're
It's probably
absorbing.
fake.
It's probably fake, you know, or it's just filled with, like, random, I don't even know, like, what. Like,
yeah.
It's definitely, you can get sucked in
so
easily.
And
how do you
navigate that?
I think I've literally seen jokes about doom scrolling
Yeah.
on TikTok. Like, I think I saw one where they were like, oh, when I play hide and seek with my little cousins and I'm like the seeker and I end up doom scrolling for 3 hours and then my little cousin comes out and is like, you never found me. And it was like, oh shoot, I forgot to look.
And, like, the normalization of doom scrolling on social media, where people on social media have the, like, you know, like an oxymoron. It's like an oxymoron of, like, you're posting on social media that you're doom scrolling, and someone is most likely doom scrolling while watching that. It's just kind of insane.
It's so funny. Like, so how do you think one gets out of that?
I mean, like we said before, detoxing is a method that you can. It's like it's. Everyone knows what detoxing is and taking a break. Yeah. But I feel like on a day-to-day basis, there are easier methods for when you might, like, not be able to take a detox without feeling like even withdrawals.
Yeah, withdrawals are really hard. I don't even think they're, like, you know, I don't want to say your classic withdrawals, because I think, honestly, if I wasn't able to at some point, like, doom scroll, I wouldn't be dead and, like, freaking out that I can't, like, oh my god, I can't watch all these videos.
Yeah.
But I think it's more like, when you have nothing to do,
what do you do?
What do you do? And it's like, everybody's like, oh, open TikTok, oh, open Instagram, and scroll. But it's like, how do you start replacing that with something else instead?
Mm-hmm. And, like, it's so easy to whip out your phone, which you already have on you.
Yeah.
And do the thing that's easiest to just start doing. You don't even have to think.
Yeah, and I think that's part of the appeal, is it's so easy to just open your phone, tap the app, and immediately it's, like, right there. Like, I know, like, when I even open YouTube, so usually the first thing that's there is YouTube Shorts. It doesn't even bring me to the homepage as much anymore, so it's like you can get sucked into even, like, YouTube Shorts in, like, 20 seconds. Immediately, as soon as you open the app.
Yeah, and how? How do you get out of that?
It's so hard. I think it's, like, unless somebody calls your name, or unless you, like, definitely have to do something.
Even then, it's hard to, like if
it's hard to escape it.
Yeah, like, if I want to start, like, working for school, for example, like, I want to start doing my schoolwork, and I'm scrolling, it's like, no matter how much I want to, like, start, like, I'm constantly thinking, like, I should probably start working. I should probably start.
Oh, me too.
And it'll take me an hour to get off of, like, scrolling.
Yes, and at the same time, it feels like it takes seconds to doom scroll, and it feels like it's only been 3 seconds, and then you look up and you look at the clock and you're like,
it's been 3 hours.
It's been 3 hours. What have I been doing?
And I feel like a lot of our time is wasted on literally nothing. You get almost, like, I mean, you can learn on social media, but for the most part, you get nothing out of it.
Yeah, but I feel like when you learn on social media, either you go there to learn, like, you're already on there with the intention of learning something, or you accidentally stumble across it.
Yes, and then also going down a rabbit hole.
Mm-hmm.
Also, I mean, yes, that's a little different, especially when you're going down a rabbit hole about learning something, but then there's, like, going down a rabbit hole of, like, something kind of crazy.
Yeah. So I think honestly, it takes me back to, like, when we were little. Like, what? Like, it makes me think, what did we do before we had phones? Like, I'm definitely guilty of saying, and Sophia knows this, I'm guilty of saying, like, I miss my play kitchen.
Yeah, you do say that a lot. In referral to not just, like, your play kitchen specifically, but, like, your life before.
But my life before all of this, and life before the teenage stress, and, like, having to doom scroll and having that be what fills my time. Like, I think it's, like, it's okay to do that sometimes. Like, I think everybody's aware, like, oh yeah, I doom scroll and it's bad.
Yeah.
Kind of where the term, like, okay, I can't say this because I'm not sure if this. All the Gen Alpha kids are gonna come after me for saying this is brain rot. They're like, they're not. That's not what brain rotting really is. Well,
but like that is
in terms of my
definition,
that's rotting my brain. That's brain rotting for me.
Yeah.
Is doom scrolling, and we're all like, yeah, I'm rotting my brain away.
And like the constant references to what you see on social media is also, I think, what people call brain rot.
That's a conversation for, like, a Gen Alpha kid. They can tell me what brain rot is. I don't trust my definition, because all of a sudden I'm only 16, and all of a sudden I feel old now, which all the people who are, like, in their 20s and 30s and adults and my parents are going to come after me and be like, you're not old. How dare you say that? Like, we're old.
We're the young generation of Gen Z.
But to think that Gen Alpha is over.
Yeah.
There's a new generation. There's, what is it, Generation Beta?
Beta, yeah.
Yes. I feel old now, okay? There are people in my generation. Granted, we're at the literal, like, last 2 years of our generation.
Like,
so,
my brother is Gen Alpha.
Yeah, so is mine.
Ugh. And it's so sad. He keeps trying to, like, convince himself and us that he's Gen Z.
Aww. I think my brother tries to do that, too.
His conversation with his friends just
the lingo, the language is so Gen Alpha. Whoever walks out here talking about skibbity toilet.
Oh, my gosh.
And TikTok Riz party.
What is that?
And I don't even know. Like, all these slang words all of a sudden are coming out of the works, and I'm like, oh my gosh, I haven't heard of these. Like,
I'll have to ask him to explain things to me.
Yes.
How?
The other day I had to ask my brother, like, what does this mean? I think I only knew the word chopped until our friends started saying chopped to me, and I was like, I've never heard anyone be called chopped before. So, like, it kind of just shows, like,
how fast the media is moving,
how fast media moves, and, like, where, like, the different rabbit holes you can go down. But anyway, my point was, in all of this, like, my definition of brain rot is when I'm, like, doom scrolling and I'm throwing my, like, hours away.
I can actually ask my brother what his definition of brain rot is. Ibrahim, what would you say brain rot is?
So, in my opinion, brain rot is, like, something where it doesn't benefit or help you in any way, and it's, like, online, and it's not informational whatsoever. It doesn't benefit you. It doesn't inform you about what's going on. It's just absolutely melting your brain.
So I wasn't wrong in my definition of brain rot, really. It was kind of just throwing my hours away.
Yeah. What would your brother say?
Okay, so my brother says that brain rot is
low-quality, brainless content.
Yeah.
Okay. So next, my brother's friend Ethan also has his own definition of what brain rot is.
Some people, like, they make jokes and sometimes they take it too far. I think it's kind of funny, but in one way it makes people addicted to it, so it's not that good of a thing, but it can also be funny. So that's my opinion.
Okay,
interesting. So I guess that kind of gives us our definition of brain rot. So I guess I wasn't wrong.
No.
I guess it is, like, it's just mindless consumption of, like, pointless information that has no, like, gravitation, like, gravity in your life whatsoever.
Yeah.
It's just pointless.
That pretty much wraps up guilty pleasures and just like pointing out the fact that we have so much of our lives spent away on doing absolutely nothing and getting nothing from it.
So then, what do you think? How do we healthily manage that?
I would say like set some time for yourself to do that. Give yourself 2 hours to literally just scroll.
Or find something else you can replace doom scrolling with. Like, I guess if we were saying, like, throw back to, like, me saying my play kitchen and stuff like that, like, I miss the time where I actually had something else other than doom scrolling to do. Like, what was it that I used to do? Now, obviously, like, I don't know, like...
Maybe, like, downloading, like, even video games, I feel like you need to use your brain.
Like, dying on Roblox.
Okay, maybe not
for, like,
that, but, like...
real throwback memories.
Like magic piano tiles?
Yes!
Like that, instead of doom scrolling.
Yeah. And then kind of, like, wean yourself off of that eventually, and kind of just... I think sometimes we need to, like, get more in touch with our, like, childlike side. Which, that can be a topic for another week.
Yeah.
So, I guess, I mean, to wrap it up, I mean, doom scrolling.
Yep.
Guilty pleasure, for sure.
100%. Okay, that's the end of our first 6 teaspoons, please. Thank you so much for listening to our second episode.
We hope you'll join us here next week on Sip and Spill.